I'm Jay Gribble. I'm Vice President of International Programs at the Population Reference Bureau. Population Reference Bureau is about informing, empowering, and advancing audiences around the world with information on population and health issues. And to that end, we develop publications online and in print. They really try to take research and data and present it in a way that's synthesized and translated so that non-technical audiences can understand it and use it to inform policy making or to advance advocacy causes. I think PRB offers a range of resources for journalists. One would be the Population Handbook, which tries to explain some demographic rates and indicators in non-technical language. So we talk about total fertility rates and assume that everybody knows what it's about. This is a publication developed by and large for students, for journalists, and for other non-technical people so that they can understand, what these issues are about. We also produce the World Population Data Sheet each year, and that pulls together the most current data on population, health, environmental issues. For every country around the world, we calculate global and regional averages, so it allows a person that uses the data sheet to say, this is what's going on in my country and in the region that I live in and in the developing world, for example. Like I said, we're able to use the most current resources around, maybe the demographic and health surveys. UNICEF does the multiple indicator cluster surveys, plus we have contacts with statistical offices and in UN offices around the world. In developing the World Population Data Sheet, we draw on demographic and health surveys, UNICEF's multiple indicator cluster surveys, plus we have contacts in statistical offices in different countries around the world, as well as in UN offices. And so we're able to get the most current data on the wide range of indicators that we report on. We also develop media guides for reproductive health issues. We've developed them on for East Africa, for Francophone West Africa, for the Middle East. We've done them on family planning, reproductive health, on abortion. We're developing one on youth. We've done one on HIV. And so we really try to present, the basic information so that journalists can read, understand what some of the key issues are, and then have some of the data to draw on. Our approach to working with journalists is to work with a smaller group over time, because we find that people's interest grows, and by working with them and kind of repeated exposure to the information, they get it, they understand it more. And so we don't try to turn journalists into advocates. We try to help them understand what the issues are, what the data are, so that they can report more effectively and responsibly on the issues and really try to make a difference in their countries. It's not unusual for journalists to not understand what the data or the indicator are about, and so they'll misuse it. I think it's pretty common that a journalist will say, well, my editor says I have to have 3 pieces of data, what do I use? And so, I've heard lots of stories, for example, somebody says, well, the economy grew by 7%, and the response is, well, what about the other 93%? So there's some misunderstanding about what the data are even about and trying to measure. And so we work with them to try to understand, what did the data mean? What did the indicators mean? And how to use them in their stories. And kind of in the more advanced journalists, we work with them to see a data table and begin to extract, well, what is the story from the data, so that the evidence is driving the story rather than kind of coming back and saying, okay, I need 3 data points to wrap up my story. We also develop fact sheets on a range of reproductive health issues that are 1 or 2 pages. They have a few data points, some talking points that can be used for helping people who have to give some kind of presentation to a general audience, or if a journalist is just looking for some quick background information. We've done them on child marriage, on integrating family planning into maternal and child health services, or to HIV services, and again, trying to simplify what the key points are so that journalists can be, report really more effectively and try to make a difference in their work.